Well, we've just caught up with the joint leaders after the dressage here at Galway Downs. Buck Davison with Copper Beach and Boyd Martin, trading aces. Guys, it was a really, really close battle. I know you've just done your press conference here. Buck, just talk us through your test with Copper Beach.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a baby, but he's a real trier. You know, he's a really nice trot. He's very pleasant to watch. He doesn't have a big trot, but he has a very, very good walk, and he's a very good canter. His line changes are very good. So, you know, I tried to ride to his strengths and try to cover up whatever weaknesses he has. And, you know, it seemed to work out all right today.
Compared to your test at Plantation Fields, and he is quite young in the three-star stages, was it a better test?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he won Jersey Fresh in the three-star in the spring, and then he was second at Plantation, and he was definitely much more grown up, much more confirmed today. Like, there's a little bit of those ones, I'm a little bit sort of having to just cover things up and fudge it a bit, but I feel like he's getting much more confirmed and much more true. So it's, I think it's going to be more and more consistent as we go down the road.
That's great. And Boyd, talk us through your test with trading aces.
Yeah, he went pretty good. He's got a bit more mileage on him than Bucker's horse. So I had a couple little mistakes, which was a bit disappointing, but overall I was pretty happy with him.
And moving on, again, he was, you know, you had a great time with him, but moving on from the World Equestrian Games, he improves all the time, and he looked great in the arena.
Yeah, he's a funny horse. He's a bit hit and miss. You know, he'll either go really, really well or terrible. So tomorrow's a real test for us. Yeah, just ride him as well as I can. Try not to use him up too much early on, and you know, I think he should jump around all right.
Well, Ian Stark said a great course out there. A lot of tricky questions, but very best of luck to both of you. And it's boys on top here at Galway Downs.
It has to be special being back on your home turf and having them here.
Yeah, definitely. I think they enjoyed it. Like, one of them, you know, is a husband and wife, and one of them hasn't seen him or me since December, so it's kind of, you know, it's fun. He thinks that he's improved a lot, but, you know, I still think there's room for improvement.
And Buck, why don't you tell us what you thought of your test today?
I was quite proud of Sean. You know, he did what he can do. He's very, very consistent. He's very steady. He doesn't really make any mistakes. He doesn't have the biggest trot as far as an extended trot and things like that, but he has a very pleasant trot. He's a good mover. It's just not big yet. He's a great walk. A really good canter, and his changes are quite good. And so I think, you know, one of the things that I've been really working on is like the walk to the halt and rein back, that he can stay straight and canter off, things like that. So those small little things for him are, you know, such that he's only 8, he hasn't had a lot of time to learn all this stuff. So, but he does go into the ring and you know, seems to get better in the ring than he goes outside or goes anywhere else. You know, it's a funny horse. You know, he gets a little bit nervous and then he starts to push on him. So like he got a little bit nervous in the warm up. I just stood up and gave him a canter like I was pretty cross country, and then I came back in the ring and he's happy as can be. So, you know, but he's very reliable in the ring. That's quite fun.
He handled Jersey well, and we talked about how maybe I don't know if unnerved is the right word, but I kind of impressed him a bit. So, what do you think? Yeah. So, based on that, what do you think about the course and how he's going to handle it?
Well, you know, I don't know, to be honest with you. He's been going much, much better. You know, I took him back and, like, I ran him in the preliminary before coming here, just to get him relaxed. He does sort of over-try, and when he over-tries, we sometimes forget the jumping part of it. And, you know, so this will be interesting because he is, you know, one of those Irish horses that always knows where home is. And, you know, so it'll be, hopefully it won't be too exciting going out the first sort of 3 minutes when you come up back towards the barn, because I know Sean will know where that is. And, you know, so basically for him it's about getting him relaxed and getting him jumping well. He is a good jumper, he is brave, he is honest, but if I can get him relaxed, then it'll be good. I mean, I would like to hope I have a much better round than I do with Jersey. In Jersey, I'll space out pretty long. And I don't really want to be lucky tomorrow.
What do you think of the course? I mean, it's changed quite a bit in recent years, so what do you think of the changes that you've done?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been here for every three-star.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think that I'm really happy and thankful that they, you know, made a big effort on the ground. And what was not so good last year, they seem to have made better. So that's a good thing. The corners at the moat or whatever they call it, I mean, that for me is the competition. That is, you know, for the most part, it's just a nice course. But then those, if you saw those at Kentucky, you would stay awake at night. And so, you know, sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to ride a course that's, you know, seemingly not so bad, and then you have a couple of very difficult fences, and the sunken road is a difficult fence, and those corners are really quite difficult. So, and we can never underestimate the ground here. It's so different for our horses. They don't go on it, and you know, it's a little bit more dead than what we have at home. So, but they've worked hard to sort of compact it and make it as good as they possibly can. And it is with all those things for my horse to be plenty hard enough, I can promise you that. You know, if he goes like he would win at Jersey, I'm in big trouble. And if he goes like he did at, you know, Plantation, then I'll be happy. So we'll see which Sean comes out tomorrow.
Do you think that they say we have a 100% chance of rain tonight? Do you think that might happen, of course?
I think it would be great. I think, I mean, they spend so much time, and Robert spends so much money watering the course, and he's gotten like 3 new water trucks since I was here last year. They got a fancy new water system thing, and, you know, like they took the criticism, and, you know, I go on admit, like I went straight to Robert and he said, look, this has got to be better. And they were totally in agreement, and they did everything that they could. So, you know, I think that's why I keep going back. It's you know, I think we all owe Robert a huge thank you for what he does for the West Coast event. He puts his money and his passion into this sport, which, you know, is great for eventing in California and on the West Coast. But as far as the ground, it will. The course builders are so excited because they might not have to water truck all night. And I was here, 3 years ago, and poured with rain. And I mean, it was so muddy, but actually, those were actually the best conditions.
Yeah, it rained poured the day before.
Yeah.
And then they poured on Friday. And Saturday.
Yeah, and that's what you know, who knows. But it's supposed to rain tonight and then stop a little bit more. I mean, the only problem that I have is that I don't have a raincoat. So I got plenty of sunglasses. And so, no, I think it'll be great. I think everybody will be really happy with the ground if it rains. And yeah, it's an exciting competition. It's you know, we have 3 out of the top 4 finishers in the Plantation here. So you know, that's the big prep for our fall season on the East Coast. So. You know, always getting everybody's best shot, that's for sure. And I was being really nice, I left right here. And I sent Jenny a photo. Remind me to show you the picture that I sent. I have a new So, no, it's cool. I mean, it's cool to see that, you know, with my you know, it's fun. I try to talk it up as much as I can at home, and you know, if we just make this country, everybody go everywhere, I think it will only make the sport bigger and better.
You guys have room for Maryland?
Yay!
Well done. Put a little bling here.
Well, that went well.
Yeah.
Oh, your voice.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll speak up.
Is it okay for you to be talking?
No, fine. I've been silent for 5 days.
Yeah, we might need your help. What happened? Are you just sick?
I've been sick for 5 days. I lost my voice for 5 days. So really a blessing for some people in my life.
And I sent her a text and I said, oh, good thing the kid was there. You can catch the board.
Exactly. No.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, like some of the other Fairhill people, rerouting here after travel. So what exactly happened at Fairhill? I didn't see.
Last week I was having a great round on Indy and I was pretty much on the minute markers. The last water was pretty influential as it turned out, but it was one of those things, as often happens, it's one of those things that as the day went on, it didn't ride better, but you knew how to attack it a little better. And I was the guinea pig. I went out first, rode it the way 99% of the people said they wanted to get to do it, and that was absolutely not the way to do it. It didn't work, and there was a lineup of the who's who of high performance eventing all standing there in the warm-up area to see how it worked out, and I wanted out and I was like, don't do it that way. And but you know, that's such as life. And also, you know, for Indy to have to go first in the dressage there, she had an uncharacteristically, she had 49, but she's really a low 40s horse. And that's just how it goes, and that's the sport. And so it seemed like a great idea to come here. She came out of the event very, very well. And I've always wanted to come out here, and she shipped out in great form, and they've all been very fresh. I probably should have unloaded them in Arizona and let them trot the rest of the way because they came out guns blazing. And the young one, typecast, went this morning. I was really, really pleased with his test. Not as good as Morbin, like about 13 points lower than Morbin, but he's 6 and he's been very, very fresh since he got here. And then Scandalous this evening was wonderful. It's the first time we've been in the 30s on her, and it's just been a real work in progress with her. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And a lot of the steps came together today, and I'm crazy about her. She was a person, you'd be crazy about her too, so she's a good partner.
And I actually hadn't seen her score. What was it?
30, what was it?
37?
37.
Is she leading now?
Yeah. Tammy's score hasn't come up yet.
Okay. So this is definitely her strong phase, and then the jumping is where
It shouldn't. It is today. She has everything, all the characteristics to be a great cross-country horse, and everything that you want in a show, you know, as a show jumper as well. She's very careful. She's got a great gallop. She's very brave, and she's very, very smart. But she is 9 years old, and it is a new partnership, and she is careful. So the score isn't necessarily indicative of performance, but it is indicative of a learning curve. And we just have to make sure that we take our time on that curve and keep it going in the right direction, because really with the end goal in sight and not get caught up in the event by event scores. Because she's a long haul horse. Some of them come into the stable and partnerships develop quickly, and some of them take a little more time, but they are the ones that you love in the end too.
And you might have the biggest stable of mares who are either at the upper levels or have the potential to be at the upper levels, so which I think is great, because I think that people don't necessarily appreciate mares as much as they should. So why do you seem to have so many?
Purpose. My mother and I always had mares in our show jumping stable, a lot of them, especially bay mares. And I believe that if you have a good mare, you've got a great partner. They can be tough, but the tough that makes them difficult is also the tough that makes them great. And if we buy horses, or look for horses with the intention of creating an upper level partnership. And we all know that on Saturday at Rolex, you want a tough partner that wants to make it work just as much as you do. And if you can deal with them and enjoy them, then mares are a wonderful opportunity for upper level riders if they can deal with the day-to-day stuff.
So had you always planned to bring all the horses out here, or was that something you decided after
That
Fairfield?
was so last moment. I can't even tell you. That was Saturday at Fair Hill.
Wow.
Yeah. And it also allowed the one-star horses, because I didn't end up qualifying for Fair Hill with Scanless, and typecast was a little bit left out. So it was a wonderful opportunity for the one-star horses to get to come out here. Certainly it's farther than anybody should have to drive for one star, but
Tell them about your dad's rig and how easy.
but they did get to ship out with my father, and he designs a Grand Prix trailer manufacturing, and they are air ride trailers that you put 10 in there, and they ship in California box stalls. They ship with a bucket of water in front of them, and they're totally free there, so they're eating off of the ground. Their heads aren't tied up. They come off fresh, so too fresh even, and it's a really wonderful way. We've shipped them out to Spruce Meadows, had great results. Shipped them out to California 2 years ago after Fair Hill, loaded the jumpers up, and came out to the Grand Prix of Los Angeles. So we've had a lot of practice, and my dad's a great shipper. And we brought Lizzie Snow's horse out. Lucia Streamy, and something
Molly
else.
Bull? Molly?
Yeah, it was Lucia. Oh, is that how I say it? Lucia?
Lucia.
And I think they all shipped quite well. So I hope that in the future more people are inclined to do it and take advantage of it, because we just put it together at the last moment, and there were some very willing souls and said, sure, we'll give it a go, and loaded them up, and off we came. Between Sunday at Fair Hill and Wednesday, the entire trip was organized.
And this is your first time here?
At Galway, yes.
Right.
I was here 2 years ago, and I was not LA 2 years ago.
Right.
But it seems like the same trip, because it was also right after Fair Hill.
Right.
It started this week. CSI Los Angeles goes for 2 weeks, and then Las Vegas.
Right. So very, very different course. Especially it's very weird walking Fair Hill and then coming here and walking this.
Absolutely.
So what are your impressions of it?
It'll be really interesting to see what they have in store for the footing, for the track, the galloping lanes tomorrow morning. I understand that there is a lot that's going to be done tonight. I think it looks like it's plenty of course in the 2-star, especially 3 waters, well planned, well designed, serious questions, and plenty of galloping. I think that the time is going to be hard to make. I don't have any experience on this kind of footing, so I don't know how it affects their gallop, but there's a lot of tight turns, a lot of slip-throughs that they can take their toll as the course goes on. And it's going to really be up to the riders to try to keep the track as smooth and flowing as possible, and so it doesn't take its toll. Horses that are used to being out here have a real advantage from the horses that are coming from the east, used to galloping across the fields and heading up a long pull up a hill. That's very different than weaving in and out of the racetrack.
Well, you're sitting in good position.
We'll see. 3-day eventing.
And your voice sounds a lot better, so that's good.
It's much better.
Hopefully it comes back all the way.
Much better.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you
We
all.
appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.